Greetings everybody, I trust you're well. EUR USD, and we are on the weekly chart. And in regards to this particular chart, we can see that the market around this area over here gave us a retracement. And the reason why it gave us a retracement at that point is that we actually have a very strong level of resistance at this point, right? As we've had multiple rejections at that point. And also, if you were to go into the past, you would see that we've had other points where we've had rejections at that level, hence we saw price pushing downwards. Anyway, let's continue. What else do we see, guys, in regards to the weekly chart of EUR USD? Another thing that I see that is also very much important is that we have this candlestick over here. It is a bearish candlestick with a small body and quite a long lower wick, and where it ends at the bottom, it tells us that we have a lot of liquidity stuck at that level. Again, we have another one at this point, which is very much similar to this one, in that it too is a liquidity candlestick and it is carrying a lot of liquidity at that point. Just keep in mind that liquidity actually represents money that needs to be triggered by the market at one point or another. So what I'm saying, in other words, is that there is quite a chance that we might see price push all the way down to test that level, and again in the future push all the way down to test that level as well, because there's a lot of money sitting at this point as well as at this point over here, right? Anyway, what else do we see on this chart? I don't see much. I'm just gonna head down to the daily chart, and here we are on the daily chart. The first thing that I'm going to do in regards to the daily chart is to add my daily channel, so just bear with me, guys. Let's have a look. So more or less I would add my channel in this manner. There we go, guys. Just bear with me. So there we go, more or less, right? So what do we see, guys, now that we are on the daily chart? On the daily chart, the first thing that I can see is that the market had given us at this level a very nice overextended M structure, which has a neckline at that point, guys. It's an overextended M structure because that first leg is much lower than that second leg, and it has a neckline at that point, right? We saw price breaking to the bottom side of that neckline and then heading back up to test that neckline, right? And this is where we would have looked for potential selling opportunities. And guys, if you recall, on the weekly chart I spoke about this level over here, and we said that that level is carrying a lot of liquidity, so chances are that the market is going to push further down to just test this level. And also, if you pay close attention, you will see that the very same level is a very strong level of support, and that is because we've had multiple rejections at that point in the past, and in the future we might potentially see price test this area, and if we're lucky we might also see price test this particular trend line at the same time, right? And at that point we might see actually a lot of buyers coming in. Can you guys see that, right? Anyway, before we proceed, I just want to add a neckline to that overextended M structure. Just bear with me. So we could say that this area over here is the neckline, guys, as I said, of this overextended M structure. And just remember that necklines are areas and not so much actual lines. So we would have looked for selling opportunities at that point when price came back to that neckline of this M structure to test it, right? And then we saw price move further down, and our take profit would have been this area over here. And why do I say so? That is because this area is a very strong level of support, guys, as I've said, right? So anyway, let's proceed, guys. What else do we see on this chart that we should be paying attention to? Another thing that I see on this chart is that we have this candlestick over here. It is a bullish candlestick with a small body and quite a long upper wick, and it too tells us that at the top where that wick ends, that candlestick is actually carrying a lot of liquidity, which needs to be triggered by the market rather at some point. And that is because liquidity, as I said, is money that needs to be triggered by the market, right? At this point I don't see much, so what I'm going to do is head down to the H4 chart. Let's have a look. On the H4 chart, I'm just going to fix my channel somewhat. let's see, have a look. That should be fine. Let's see. Just bear with me, guys, while I fix my channel. So yeah, there goes our channel more or less, right? Right, there goes our channel more or less. Just to recap, guys, remember on the daily chart we spoke about how we have this overextended M structure which has a neckline at that point. To add to that, we also spoke about this candlestick over here which is also carrying liquidity at that point, guys, and we said that in the future or soon we will probably see the market push further down to this area to test this very important or very strong area of support, and also to grab the liquidity that's sitting in and around that area. And I also mentioned that ideally it would be great if we could see price also test this trend line in and around this area. That would be great. Anyway, let's proceed. Now that we are on the H4 chart, what do we see? On the H4 chart, I'm going to start off by adding my H4 channel as well, so just bear with me. So there goes our H4 channel, more or less. Let's see. There we go, more or less, guys. So what do we see on the H4 chart that we should be paying attention to? So remember, guys, as I said, on a daily chart we spoke about how we have that M structure, right? So as much as we have that M structure, can you guys also see that we had multiple M structures as well? There's one at that point which has a neckline at that level, right? Another one is at this point which has a neckline at that point as well, right? But for now we will just focus on this smaller M structure over here, right? So I'm just going to add a neckline to that M structure. Just bear with me, guys. For now we'll focus on this smaller M structure, right? So remember we have this one over here, right? And then we have again let me just redraw that. We have another one at this point. Can you guys see that, right? And with this smaller one over here, we saw price breaking to the bottom side of that neckline and then heading back to the neckline to test it, and at that neckline is where we would have looked for further selling opportunities, right? Can you guys see that? I hope you guys can see that, right? Another thing that is also very much interesting is that we have this candlestick as well, which is a liquidity candlestick, and it too tells us that in the future the market needs to head back up to grab the liquidity that is sitting at that level, right? So what else do we see, guys? But as far as buying or selling opportunities at this point, I really don't see any, to be honest. Nonetheless, having said that, as I said, I would love to see price push all the way down to this level over here, guys. As I said, to just bear with me, to this level over here, as I said, guys, which is a very strong level of support, and perhaps at that point we might potentially get a reversal candlestick, right? Or a reversal of sorts, right? But in as far as buying or selling opportunities at this point, I really don't see any. But should price from where it is push all the way up, we might get another touch at this point, or a rejection at this trend line, and at that point we might look for another selling opportunity, and our first take profit should be this level over here where we have that very strong level of support. So that is it, guys, and as far as my analysis goes, I just hope it makes sense. If you have any further questions, just let me know, and peace out.